Welcome back to What She Said Sports. Okay, so we're getting ready to do a reaction video. We're going to review an interview by a Cleveland Browns reporter and listen to her takeaways or commentary following OTAs in Cleveland. Now, this week, session 2 of OTAs is taking place, and only one day is open to the media. The rest are closed. Now, there have already been some inconsistencies about Shedeur Sanders with 11 on 11s, with Kevin Stefanski saying, yes, he has uh, taken 11 on 11 reps, and the reporter, Mary Cabot, saying he did not. So when OTAs are closed, it's easy to get information inaccurate or incorrect and misinform viewers. So let's take a listen at some of her commentary regarding who's the best fit, who she thinks is the best fit for the Cleveland Browns quarterback position.
Which quarterbacks are going to take the bull by the horns and surprise everybody in this quarterback competition. Each one of these quarterbacks has something that they have to do to come up the learning curve, to get better. I mean, even with Joe, who's been around forever, he's got to cut down on his interceptions. Kenny Pickett has to learn the scheme and the terminology, and he's got to learn how to work on his pocket presence and things like that. Shedeur Sanders has to learn to not drift backwards and take negative plays. Dylan Gabriel just has to get the whole picture and come up the learning curve. So each one of these guys has something that they have to try to figure out. But I would think that if Kenny can win the job the way the Browns felt like he probably could when they first traded for him, then I would think that they would possibly be open to trading Joe Flacco if one of the younger quarterbacks has demonstrated that. Shedeur Sanders has to learn to not drift backwards and take negative plays. Dylan.
Okay, fam. So y'all had a chance to hear from Mary Cabot regarding Shedeur Sanders. The question that was asked of her was, which quarterback do you believe is the best fit? And she talked about how everyone has something to improve upon. And she got to Shedeur Sanders, and I played what she said about Shedeur twice. She stated that he makes there's negative plays and then he drifts backwards in the pocket. Okay, so let's talk about drifting backwards in the pocket. Okay. Do y'all remember the whole ball padding thing at CU and how people made a big deal out of it? Well, this is the same thing. And what people learned about the whole ball padding thing is it was nonsense. It was nitpicky because the greats, the legends do it. Tom Brady, etc. Right? Well, when you look up quarterbacks that drift backwards in the pocket, the greats do it. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, and even pure pocket passers like Drew Brees have some improvisation and mobility. So that's not a negative. It might not be something they want him to do, but then they also have to ask, you know, tell him, we don't want you to improvise. We don't want you to have any mobility. And they do this to avoid sacks, right? So it shouldn't be a deal breaker. Just like patting the ball shouldn't be a deal breaker. Drifting backwards in the pockets is done by the pros. Quarterbacks don't just stand still. They tend to move around a bit so they can kind of, be elusive. That's actually a good thing. And again, we are talking about the most accurate quarterback in college football. Now, another issue I take issue with something else she said. He needs to not make negative plays. Now, the question was, which one is the best fit for Cleveland, right? And Shador went through rookie minicamp. So there's context from that. There's experience from rookie minicamp. One session of OTAs took place last week, and then another session took place last week. And there was no report of negative plays. The only thing they had was the drifting. And again, that's just like the ball patting. The greats do it. Improvisation, mobility, so you don't get sacked. It's normal, essentially. And if that's all you have on him, then he's a good fit. But to say something about negative plays when there's no report of him with negative plays, which she means sacks, um, in rookie minicamp, because the context is he didn't have a run game, or he didn't have a good O line with support all the way across in year two, and no O line outside of game three in year one. So here's my problem, okay? OTAs are closed, so we can't see for ourselves. When it's open, she's the media, right? That comes back and seems to be speaking on behalf of the Browns. But, we were already given misinformation, and it was painted that he didn't take part in 11 on 11s, because he hadn't earned that right? And come to find out, that's not true. Kevin Stefanski said he did when it was closed, but she didn't know, right? So I find it very problematic that she could be very confident that he didn't take place in something and Dylan Gabriel did, as if it's to assert that Dylan Gabriel is better, which is her leading and trying to say that Dylan is better than Shador. So she's inserted bias into the conversation. And as fans that we're beholden on her to be the voice of the Browns, apparently to the public, it's very concerning that she would talk about Shedeur having negative plays, but there's no report of negative plays. So she's talking about something from college. And when she says Dylan has a learning curve, I don't know if he has a learning curve now or when he was at Oregon, right? And if we're speaking in the context of now for Dylan, we should be speaking in the context of the current and present for Shedeur. That should be the alignment. We're speaking of current context. So I find problem with that as well. And her conversation seems to be laced with bias, and it does seem to be nitpicky. And either she's not experienced enough to know that the legends drift backwards in the pocket, to know that that's not wrong. Just like patting the ball is not wrong. It's something that happens with quarterbacks, including the legends. So that means Shador is pro ready. And that's the way to look at that. So you guys let me know your thoughts. We'll continue to do these reactions to interviews coming from, different teams that we follow, different players that we follow, if y'all like the commentary. So thank you again. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. And thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.